Now we're out in our Syrah block. This is actually another block of the Bitner Vineyard. This is a fairly new planting of Syrah. The first thing that you'll probably notice about this vineyard block is that as you look down the row, there's a light cover crop, and there's actually a little bit of grass seeded in here between the rows. And that helps to control erosion, to help keep the soil temperatures a little bit lower, and to allow for a little more growth of beneficial insects out here in the vineyard. When you look at these rows, you can actually see that we're looking at the west side of this row here, that we've got real good canopy coverage here, and we have really good control of the growth down lower on the plant. We've got all of the growth going on up here above the trunk and along the cordon arm. And as we look down these rows here, you can start to see just a few clusters of grapes here inside, kind of in that speckled shade that I mentioned before when we were looking at the Vineyard block. This is a fairly distinctive Syrah cluster. You start to see the berries actually forming up there. And the leaves are nice and big and growthy and healthy, and we want to keep that shade in here and keep those grapes nice and cool throughout hot days like this. It's currently about 96 degrees out here, so fairly toasty out here in the vineyard. You can see, as we've talked about before, we've got the canopy pulled up pretty high. We're getting the growth all up higher as opposed to down, covering up the grapes. So we're actually keeping that fruiting zone all exposed and pulling everything up amongst the catchment wires. As you look into the clusters here a little more on this side, you can also see that these trunks are real small. And this is also a fairly young vineyard. This is only about 5 years old. And these clusters are forming up real nicely. You can also see that there's a lot fewer clusters than you could see out in our Viognier block. And that's because since this is a red, we want to keep the tonnage real low. We're aiming for 1.5 tons roughly per acre of production off of this vineyard. So that's going to help to keep our flavors real concentrated, to keep our maturities where we want them. We want to be able to make sure that with a lower crop load that the grapes actually get mature when we want them to. So as we look forward here, we can see right down the rows. That's a real good example of what we've got going on here in Idaho. Real light crop covers to try and keep the soil temperatures fairly warm, but not too warm. And, keeping the vineyards in real nice and healthy shape right now.